This game is Megamania by Activision, released in 1982. And you can see my copy looks like somebody's cat took a piss all over it. But that's okay, because this game is fucking awesome. Let's give it a try, shall we? Just pop it in the old 2600 Darth Vader model, power it up. When you first start playing Megamania, a couple of things jump right out at you right away. And that's the high quality graphics, the bright, vibrant colors, and the wonderful sound effects. It's just such a satisfying sound to blast an alien hamburger. It really feels like you've accomplished something when you hear that sound. I almost can't even describe that sound. It's something like a ping, but even better. Anyhow, the full title of Megamania is Megamania: A Space Nightmare, and that should give you a little clue as to the plot line of this game. Megamania takes the old standard Space Invaders type gameplay and gives it an interesting psychedelic twist. There's some kind of storyline about you're in space and you have a dream. It's actually a nightmare where you're invaded by aliens, but these aliens are different types of household objects. I'm not quite sure what these household objects are supposed to be, these green things, but you'll see that a lot of the other aliens, per se, resemble household items. I'm not quite sure what these are supposed to be either, and I don't have the manual to reference it. But there are things like bow ties, steam irons, sandwiches, hamburgers, ice cream maybe, I forget. There's all kinds of weird things. There's diamonds. I don't know. But it's interesting. There's the diamonds. And this game is very psychedelic. It's probably the most psychedelic Atari game I've seen, next to, oh, maybe Kool-Aid Man. Now, it is true that the gameplay is right along the lines of a Space Invaders clone, but it is a far cry from Space Invaders. In fact, I think it's 10,000 times better than a game like Space Invaders. For starters, the enemy design is wonderful, and each enemy has its own distinct pattern. And the patterns are very tricky. It's very easy to get zoned out while you're playing the game and watching the patterns of the enemies and trip up and actually get killed. Now, like most games of the era, there was no finite ending to this game. I mean, you could get 99,000 or something like that. It's like 99,990, and the game would trip an error, and it would just stop playing. But there are a bunch of different enemies, say maybe 10 or so, and they repeat at a harder difficulty level. But the interesting thing about Megamania is when they repeat, their patterns are different. And that makes the game infinitely more challenging and enjoyable. It's just really interesting to see how far you can get to see what kind of patterns they come up with. There are 4 different game modes in Megamania. Oh, by the way, this is one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite boards. This is the last stage before the enemies repeat. Anyhow, there are 4 game modes. You're looking at game mode 1, which is 1 player with guided missiles, which means that as you shoot and your projectile goes to the top of the screen, you can steer it as you steer your ship. And the second game mode is the same thing, but 2 player. Game mode 3 and 4 is 1 and 2 player of the straight shot projectiles, which means once you hit the fire button, wherever you fire from, it travels in a straight line to the top of the screen. And that's an added challenge if you want to try it this way. This game, I think, is pretty challenging enough as it is on the normal Mode 1 gameplay. But if you are a Megamaniac and get bored with it, you can try it on the more challenging level. Now, if you haven't noticed by now, there is a yellow energy bar at the bottom of the screen that slowly depletes over time. That's a game's form of a timer. And if you run out of energy, you die. It's basically a timer. I don't know why they didn't call it timer, they called it energy. I guess it's a little bit of creativity and nothing more. Anyhow, the goal is to clear the stage of all enemies before your energy runs out. And every 10,000 points, you gain an extra life. Now, when Activision first formed as a company and started releasing games for the Atari 2600, they had some kind of special high score players club, where if you scored a predetermined amount of points in a particular Activision game, you would take a picture of the screen with the high score and mail it to them, and they'd mail you back a patch that said, you know, it was a special, unique patch for each game. This game was a little Megamania spaceship, and it said, "I'm a Megamaniac," and that score was 45,000 points. You can see I just crossed past 45,000 points, so I guess I'm officially a Megamaniac. I'm Dommy from Classic Games Revisited. Until next time.